Warning, this episode does contain spoilers for the latest episode of The Last of Us, so if you have not watched the episode, then please stop right now, forever hold your peace, and let's get straight to the episode. Welcome back to another episode of Geeks Around the Mic. I'm your host Patrick, and I'm with me, as always, best mate Scott.
Hello,
you okay, mate?
I'm good. I'm traumatized and devastated.
Same.
I'm good. I'm doing good.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, we were waiting for the moment, and we got it in episode 2. And I gotta say, episode 2 is probably the best episode from season 1 to now. Best episode so far.
Yes,
Big up budget.
I agree.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially the mountain shots and stuff. You really see the difference. Yeah, I agree.
Oh god, definitely. Yeah, and we're just gonna get straight into it, guys. So, Scott, the moment we were dreading, the moment we knew what was gonna happen, it happened in this episode, and took a swing. But yeah, guys, sad to say that we have lost a treasured character from the show, and oh god, the way they done it though, Joel. Yeah, Joel. He is, he's gone.
R.I.P. He is gone.
They killed him off. They killed him, and if you're a fan of the games, you know the way it's happened, and they've done it the same for the show. But however, they've done it differently though. Which, Scott, I'm going to leave it to you because you have a strong opinion about the decisions they made in the game, but they did it differently in the show. So I'm going to leave it to you.
You make me obviously. I'm like Naughty Dog's biggest hater in everyone in this episode.
Well,
no, look, I just think
they got spoiled, and you haven't played the games, so.
No, I've seen gameplay and I've seen a lot of breakdowns of it all and everything. I just think that like my main issue was how it was all executed. I understand exactly what Neil Druckmann was trying to say with Part 2 story, and I know that in order for the players to feel a sense of wanting to get revenge, they needed to lose someone that they cared about, that we knew that Ellie cared about too. So I understand why they did it. I just think the execution of it, the agency, the writing, the setup, everything just wasn't handled as well as it could have been. And I think that the just sort of payoff for the rest of the game just wasn't worth it. I think that like if they don't do it, they don't wrap up the story in a very satisfying way that makes that sense and isn't satisfying, basically. But with the show, I felt like they definitely led up to it a bit better. And I think putting Joel in that vulnerable position made more sense in the show, because we see how, obviously we'll talk about the rest of the episode in a bit, but his panic for Jackson and his concern and his sort of, it made more sense why he let his guard down, and also how Dina was there in that room instead of Tommy. He was more concerned for her safety as well, which the show had also built up in the previous episode by showing them together as well to show they've got a connection. She's like sort of his like new like daughter or whatever, like his second daughter, or you know. So I felt like to me it was handled better, and it was a scene that worked arguably better than for a TV show than a game. And it, I still think that it does feel like it's more, Joel's death is more like a plot point than an actual character arc that makes sense. But if I were to choose both options, I would choose the show, and I did like how they did it more. And as brutal as it is, I think it made a bit more sense. And I wasn't as like angry and annoyed, more just devastated for this version. So, which I think is what you're supposed to feel more. I know you're supposed to feel angry too because you want revenge like Ellie did, but I think that the show handled it better. So yeah.
But plus they did it like better because obviously in the game Tommy was the one who introduced or slipped to say this is Joel and I'm Tommy, and which I know you hated, but in this one it was in the show they did it by Dina who shouts out Joel's name and Abby just hears his name. I feel like that they did that better because that was accident, but like. Yeah, because Dina didn't know the situation where
because Dina didn't know that because Dina is like you said convenient for the situation because Dina was like concerned for Joel because she thought obviously that the herd was attacking the storm, and then obviously she didn't know that Abby was there until after saying his name, so it made more sense. Yeah, definitely. So that's why.
But like when she finds out that it's Joel and she's reaching for her gun, but she's lost it, and then she's just like for the whole situation, like, well, what's she doing? Like she just went with the flow and just like followed Joel just to get out with safety. But at that moment, you know, like she wants to kill him right there and then.
Yeah.
But no, but the way what was her name again? Is it Caitlin
Denver,
Abby,
I believe.
I think that's the name. Yeah, I gotta say, brave to play the role of Abby, but I gotta say she did phenomenal in that scene. Like
she was good, yeah.
And the bit I really liked, and I thought they did way better than the game, is like Abby actually tells Joel the reasons why she's there and why she's gonna kill him. While in the game, it's just like, you know what you did, but you know, swing and.
Which I think surely makes more sense, because some people are saying, oh, well, no, but in the game it's supposed to be this big reveal after you played as Ellie and everything. Well, surely you would want
too
to...
late. It's too late. But at that point,
by that point, it's too late, yeah. And it's such a... If it was anything, it feels more anticlimactic, because you've got to have such a big payoff for justifying playing as his character. And all we get is that Joel killed the guy in the surgery, and that's it. Like, it was like, okay, well, he's killed so many people before, like... There's so many heroes, or not. Joel isn't a hero, let's be honest. But there's so many protagonists that have killed people that would have had loved ones. Like, that's not good enough reason for us to want to not switch sides, but be conflicted. I'm sorry, it's not good enough. So and also it makes more sense if you want revenge for someone, you would want them to know why you're doing this and tell them. You know what I mean? Like, it makes more sense. Like, no, I want to kill you because you killed my dad. Like, it makes more sense rather than just like not saying it. So I think just structurally wise, to me, it just makes more sense. And I think that maybe it doesn't work as well for the reveal of like her connection and things to the rest of the plot. Maybe, I don't know, because I don't even like how they do it in the game anyway. So I'm not even comparing it to that in a sense of like from a good perspective. But yeah.
We've got to give credit to the producer, though, Craig Mazin, who directed the first episode and working along with Neil Druckmann. So, because I listened to the HBO's Last of Us podcast, which Troy Baker hosts, and they go to in depth with each episode. And I've found out more that Craig always asks Neil loads of questions about certain things in the story. And from Craig's perspective, since he works on TV shows, he knows how to like go in the certain direction for the TV viewer, which I kind of like. So obviously the changes we get in the show was from Craig Mazin's
his perspective of
from his perspective. So he's which I'm glad. And Neil's just like there agreeing with him, like we'll change the sentencing. So I think he was the one who suggested like we need Abby to reveal the reasons and not do like they did.
Yeah,
in the game.
because
so I think they fixed some of the controversial parts.
Yeah, I don't even think it makes sense to do it in a show compared to game. It just makes more sense in general. I don't think it makes sense in the game, but that's just I'm not gonna get into it.
We're not gonna get.
It's been the game's came out 4 years ago. There's been many debates. Let's see. But I mean, it is good that we just mentioned how you said how Craig Mazin.
Yeah, he's the producer and also
it is good that he talks to Neil Druckmann about things, because I think in so many video game adaptations, the writers have famously do not play the games, are not fans of the series or whatever.
Yeah, like they don't really talk about the creators as well.
Yeah, exactly, and they don't respect the material enough. They just look at it as an IP to get their mitts on and just let their egos go wild and change everything. But I like that he actually respects the game and is a fan of the game and wants to do it justice, but also do his own like spinning it in the television side of it as well, which is really cool. Because obviously you don't want him to just do the exact same thing, but you also don't want him to go too far in another direction either. So I like that. Yeah.
And I was telling you this before, but even though this scene was so serious, there was a moment that I chuckled and laughed because, like, Abby's like, you know what, I've been waiting for so long, and then Joel's just like, oh, just shut the up and just do it already.
Yeah,
like,
it was just
I started laughing at that part, even though I know what's to come. And
because in the game he says something along the lines of like, he's like, why did you save it a speech you got rehearsed and get this over with? So they do it a little bit different like here as well, but it's more like just him just saying that instead. It's more like sassy and it was good. I like it.
I like Pedro's version of that scene. It's just like
one last badass moment before his death. You know what I mean? And I did like it. Reminds me of The Walking Dead with a certain character with the suck my nuts. Remember that? Yeah.
I think I know what the scene you're about.
Not going to say the name of the character or the scene if anyone who's watching that right now, but not to spoil it, because it's especially zombie apocalypse show. But yeah, it reminded me of that as well.
Yeah. I want to save the final moments for that scene though towards the end, but I want to focus on like all the other parts of the episode, especially the big, massive attack on Jackson, which I gotta say, I was blown away. We've seen the trailers, but this tops it up. Like, so much has happened, and you could definitely tell they put a lot of budget into this episode, and I think this has got to be the most expensive for this season. It's got to.
Well, I didn't think that also Jackson was going to get attacked that big. I thought it was going to be more like them fighting these infected on patrol, maybe. But I really liked it, and I don't think that anything in the rest of the season is certainly going to top it. Personally,
no, I don't think so.
Yeah, but no, it was. But yeah, it was amazing production wise and everything. Just brilliant. It felt like I was. It makes me sad that we didn't get this section in any of the games as well.
I know, because it's the most infected we've ever seen. Like, you don't see that many infected in the games, but in this episode you see thousands, and it's just you do not want to be there. But it's just the start of it, though. Like, the whole process of like it building up to the big battle, when Abby slips down the hill and lands into a trench of dead infected, and then underneath it, it's all the infected hibernated, which I think you were saying Maria had like a theory, like they're all hibernating underneath dead infected, and they're all just coming out of the snow and then chasing Abby, and oh my god. And then we get like some of the scenes that we see in the game where Abby's running through the mining area, and she goes through the fence as well.
The fence, the fence, but actually like I did like that sequence like in the game. I did see that sequence in the game, and
the hand part with this infected pushing his hand through.
Yeah, it was brutal.
I was like, my brother was in the room watching it with me, and he saw that part. He was like, "Oh," because he's never played the games. He just popped in to just watch a bit of the episode, and he's so far intrigued, saying, "Wow, this actually looks really good." But he walked out of the room before he saw Joel's death, so I'm glad he didn't see that part, because that would have just ruined the whole experience. So he's gonna watch at some point, which I'm glad. Hopefully,
definitely,
and then Joel, Dina, and Abby are running away, but then obviously my theory was right about that pipe, in Jackson, which had the fungus growing.
Yes, you were right about that, weren't you?
I was right, and then as soon as the guy hits it with his, and then pulls the weed, he realised, oh crap, I've just interfered, I just stabbed a fungus. Running to Tommy to say, Tommy! And then all the hordes are like, that were chasing Dina and Joel, all switch course and all piled together to run to Jackson. I was like, oh,
and you see that guy on the rooftop with the balcony with the binoculars, and he sees and it's slowly, because obviously there's the huge snowstorm happening too, which is like sort of metaphorical for like the storm that's come to Jackson and everything as well.
Oh god, that's true. Yeah,
and then it starts off calm, and then it slowly builds up, because it happens in the game as well, doesn't it? Because it was the storm of Joel's death, but here it's like that and Jackson's attack as well on the show now. But and then you slowly see all the infected get more and more visible as they come down the hill. Oh, it's like some sort of Game of Thrones, horror movie.
It is by HBO, who've done Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Great sequence, great direction, everything. Yeah, I really like the shot of when they're fighting Moff, and obviously we get some creative, like, barrel drums for like fire, and like their own version, like Molotovs. I think it was trying to be like that a little bit, like an homage.
I like that you mentioned that there, because Craig Mason was asking Neil Druckmann in the episode I was listening to. He was talking about how would Jackson defend himself. So that's when they came up with the ideas of like all the like defense ideas that they could do for Jackson for like the big attack. And but Craig Mason's really coming up with good ideas for this series, and I'm really liking his like intake.
Just go back. Just for quick. Just go back to that a second. I love the shot of them when they're all using the guns, and you see the shell casing, and there's like dozens of shell casings on the ground. Because they're just eating up all their ammo on this infected. And it's like wow, they really try and hold them off. And it's funny. I also saw a comment the other day, not the other day, like yesterday as well, saying that what the scariest thing is, they did everything right. They did everything they did went to plan. They people hid in the shelters and the basements. They used up all their defenses. They rang the warning signs when they were supposed to. They were all prepared, and they still lost probably I'd say at least half of the town. Like, they barely got by.
I think half of the defense squad.
Yeah,
because all the townspeople were underneath the basements.
Yeah,
but
using up all the flamethrower ammo and even like the dogs. So I love it when when they get the dogs.
Oh
out
god, the dogs.
I was like, okay.
I know. I was like, oh my god, this is sick. I thought they were all gonna die, but no, these dogs were like full. They were going at it, but it all went well though. Unfortunately, a bloater appeared, and as soon as the bloater appeared, everyone was following the bloater. And that's the thing as well. Like, these are infected. They're becoming smart now. They're becoming like ants. Which
saying,
the leader. Craig Mason was saying they're kind of like ants now. They follow the leader. And obviously the bloater breaches the Jackson, and then they all follow. And
that's cool. I like that. Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of the bloater, that scene with Tommy with the bloater and Maria.
Yeah.
Because obviously Maria's shooting at the bloater and like trying to distract it, but then Tommy notices it, and Tommy was like trying to like save her by distracting the bloater. Oh my god, I'm not gonna lie, mate. And I know we've talked about this, but I thought they were gonna kill Tommy off.
Oh yeah, I thought he was
really
sure.
thought they were gonna
for sure. Yeah. I was like, no, we're not gonna lose both Miller brothers in this episode, are we? Like, good lord.
I know.
I was like,
I know. As soon as he was like torching the bloater on fire, Tommy, I was like, oh my god, it's gonna run out. And then as soon as the bloater was coming forward, I was like, they can't kill Tommy.
Yeah,
they can't.
Because I was like,
as soon as he closed his eyes, I was like, oh wait, I feel like he's just gonna collapse.
And then it just goes like,
no. I'm glad he didn't though, because Tom just dies. Because thing is, so Tommy's a big part of the Part 2 game as well. So it'd be weird to like kill him off. If they kill him off, then I'll be intrigued to see where they go from that, because they can't kill Tommy off just yet.
Yeah, I know. I don't believe they will kill him off, because in the game I know he survives, doesn't he? He lives by the end, so I don't believe they're going to kill him off in the show. But yeah, I mean, obviously it was a great sequence, and obviously that in the aftermath we see people like, even people have like bite marks on their arm, and like one guy just hands to the guy's gun and just says, "Yeah, just do it, bro. Like I'm screwed." And it was brutal, but also just it gives you a good reminder of like the reality of this harsh world, because obviously episode 1 was more quite happy and more, well, not happy, but more like they were a bit more peaceful and a bit more sort of like safe. And then this one was very much like, no, like you ain't safe. even in this town where you got electricity and lights and food and the cinema, you ain't safe. And I really like that reminder of that in this episode as well.
And that I like about you mentioned that though, because in the episode, I'm always going to refer to the podcast episode, listen, but Craig Mazin did say though, like with every expansion, there's a price. So obviously they're trying to expand Jackson, and they're doing really well. But obviously, if you're trying to expand, there's also got to be a price. And obviously, they hit the drain pipe. So every extension, there's always a consequence as well, which I kind of like, though. I thought that was really...
I did like that, yeah. It was good, yeah. For the... Let's just do the last bit about the show, like the Jackson fight, I guess. Do you think... Because I was saying this before, at first I thought like they should have had some effect to come and get to people that were hiding in like the basement and stuff. But do you think they did enough? Because I think that it was important to not have everyone be like just totally slaughtered, so that to show they still. But I think that like they got the good balance of like they did a lot of damage here, and it was there. But I also really loved the Maria Tommy reunion afterwards as well. And I want to give a shout out to Laura, my girlfriend here, because she said how. Because we were talking about why Tommy was at Jackson instead of with Joel, like in the game, for his to be part of his death and everything. And obviously, we mentioned how it makes sense for the Joel side of things, for why he's distracted, because obviously this is what we were saying before, how he's distracted by the attack on Jackson. That's why he's in a more vulnerable position and doesn't have his guard up and gets taken about, gets in that position. I think for Tommy, well, Lauren, my girlfriend said this before, for Tommy, they wanted to show the emotional connection of this town that he's built, and him doing everything in his power to protect it, and having that devastation at the end that he's with Maria. And obviously his son's fine, Maria's wife's fine, he's fine, but his town has been devastated, and they were in such a good position like the day earlier. Now they're like, it's just all nearly gone. And I think that definitely works for the emotion behind it as well, and it made him feel more like, because in season 1 he's more like just Joel's brother, and I think already in this season he's like genuinely his own character. And I think this like battle really solidified that. And I think that I do agree that is a really good point. So yeah, shout out to Lauren there. That was good idea.
That is good though, because like I feel like the situation, comparing like the game, like Tommy was with Joel when hit to his end, I felt like it really worked for Tommy just to remain in Jackson and obviously being there for his town, and rather than being with Joel. But I thought that was the right move, and it works out well for like the future plot as well. But I'm really excited to see what Tommy, for the future story for Tommy, for like the Seattle part, which we'll be getting into later on.
That would be cool. Yeah, I'm excited. But yeah, and like I said, great fight scenes, great sequences. Infected are all like they're terrifying in this show. Like they really like. That's what I like, because I feel like for something like The Walking Dead, it got to the point where the walkers were just not any threat really for people unless there was a big group of them, like a giant herd. Whereas this show, like, any amount of infected is an issue. Any amount is a problem.
Yeah.
It really feels like it's like you are just like screwed. You know what I mean? So I do like that sense of like the horror there as well, for sure, and how fast they move as well, and how much they run and everything. It's like 28 days later and World War Z and all these ones that are like where they move fast and stuff. It gets really works.
Like in a world you want to live in, it's probably easy to live in the world of The Walking Dead.
Oh, for sure. No, yeah. I've seen that to Lauren as well, as like if these guys like make the walkers look like, you know, nothing in comparison, like, then, you know what I mean? So yeah. But it was a great sequence. But should we talk more about the ending of like the ending of the episode, maybe, like with Joel's death a bit more, I guess? Or...
Yes, we'll get back to Joel now to finish it off.
Yeah.
But so obviously Ellie finds Joel and
same as the game, same sequence, isn't it? And...
same as the game. She enters the scene, tries to save Joel, but she gets pushed to the ground, pinned to the floor.
She actually gets a shot off her in this version, doesn't she? Like, she actually gets like a... Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think she does, but I've just remembered. I'm trying to remember the character though, because in the game, I've told you this before.
Yeah.
But when Abby arrives to Jackson, she arrives with more friends. But in this show, they only have some of them. So like Nora, Mel, Owen. I think it's Manny Manny. I think his name is.
Yeah.
But Manny gets cut in the face by Ellie's knife.
Yes.
That happens, but it doesn't happen to Manny. It happens to another character in the game.
Oh, okay.
But I think they decided just to dial it down and only focus on the main friend group of Abby, because the other two that were there, or the other three, they weren't a big part of Abby's group. They were there, but they were just more like an objective, like, oh, we're going to find that friend, get information about Abby, then move on to the next friend. But they weren't big part, so I feel like it was the right move just to have the four main friends, Owen, Manny, Nora, and Mel, which I think is right. So Manny is the one who gets the scratch off Ellie, and not the other guy.
Right. Okay. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Yeah, that's definitely changed it, yeah. Yeah, but then, like I said, it's a brutal sequence. Like, obviously, the big difference here is probably how actually Joel gets killed itself. Because obviously in the game, like, it shows like Abby is like just hitting him with the golf club and like beating him there, whereas in this version it actually breaks because she's been hitting him so much with it, and then she starts punching him. This is where I feel like you know, the Abby's physique may be a thing that like people wish that she had, because of how like it's more believable that she's beating him up and stuff and actually doing more damage. Then again, I suppose I feel like if you're defenseless and the other person's got a weapon and stuff, it's like it doesn't matter how strong you are, you're still going to do some damage, aren't you? Because they even do in this version, like after she shoots him with the shotgun, like tourniquets it, she starts like whacking the leg where that's been shot.
I know,
like, oh god, it's like brutal. But they only show a few of those hits. Then afterwards, obviously, it's the punches and stuff. But and then obviously, you know, same sequence in it when she's like begging for Abby not to do it. And then obviously she picks up what's left of the gold with the stick and stabs it in his face. So if anything, that's kind of a bit more of a mercy killing and less painful.
But you hear that chime though, as soon as, you know, like he hits and it's all quiet, like you hear that chime like of the golf, and you hear just Ellie screaming in the background. I'm like, whoa, that's just.
It's arguably I was just brutal.
Yeah, I thought they executed much better than they did in the game for that part. Even though it's sad to see Joel gone, but I thought it was well executed. And then
he tries to get up as well. Like when Ellie's like,
get up, Joel, and he's like moving slowly, but it couldn't move.
Oh, it's just
I know, Pedro, you made me cry.
Definitely
so good.
Yeah,
but the thing I really like,
though, I believe, and
we've seen the flashbacks.
Yeah, because I know we've seen it in the trailers. We've seen some stuff, haven't we, and everything.
And plus with my theory as well.
But I know,
But also, like, you know, in the beginning of the episode, Ellie was telling Jesse that both Joel and Ellie patch things up.
Yes.
But we don't know when. So that's when my theory is, like, you know, the episode when Ellie walks behind the house and leaves Joel. I feel like we're going to get a flashback and then to actually talking, which is actually in the game.
It's going
to be probably the last ever episode, season 3. Season 3, last episode. We'll probably get that.
I reckon they'll show the shot where, like, they'll show that same shot of her walking past the house. The camera will linger on there for a few seconds, and then she'll come back, and then that same sequence and that scene will start as well, and it'll be and it'll make it even more tragic because again it's like they were just about to start to make up, and then you know he gets taken out and everything as well, and like I said, obviously, you know my opinions on the game story now. I think that they could have done it a million different ways and still made it as effective, but I am just still intrigued to see how they do it. And so far, if I ignore how my feelings for the second game story and just look at it as like just TV, I've so far, like, both episodes have been really strong. So I'm trying to look at it more like that way, just trying to be entertained as well. Because if I start comparing the game and wishing they did things differently there, so this wouldn't be different, I'm going to go crazy. So I'm just trying to just like pretend to just ignore that and just focus on how it's just a piece of television, basically.
Yeah, well, I hope it gets better for you, because like I really love the part 2 game, and I understand like the issues of it, but just to finish,
I'm glad you do, and I'm excited for you to see. Like, I'm glad you do. I'm glad that like a lot of, and for the fans, I'm not trying to be one of these toxic fans that says, "How dare you like something." Fans who love that second game, I wish I was one of you. I wish I liked the game. I could play the game and love it, and I wish I did love it. And for the fans who did love the game, and for anyone who's like, "How dare you? The second game is you just don't understand it. It's a masterpiece." I'm glad you love it, and I'm excited for you to be excited for this game story and how it gets developed. And I hope that fans of the second game love this as well. And I'm hoping they just do it a good job. That's my main thing to close off with, I guess.
Which is fair enough, Nate. Thank you for that. Yeah. But no, just to finish off there, obviously with the final moments, and I'm glad they had this in the show, because they didn't do it in the game. But
yes,
the Abby's group leave, and Ellie crawls to Joel and cuddles up to him as well. I was like, oh my god. And
that's the same as the episode, I think it's episode 8, the winter section, where he's injured from the stabbing.
Yeah, and
he holds his hand. She holds his hand, and like then obviously she does the same thing here, hoping he's gonna hold it back, and doesn't this time. But it's just it's really brutal. Yeah, and it's funny because all this time she's been trying to be the more independent, angsty teen, and in that moment she just becomes that same kid again from the first series, and just really sad. But it's really well done, and I'm intrigued to see what they do from the aftermath. I feel like even Tommy discovering his body is going to be like emotional as well, and all sorts. So
well, I was just about to talk about a bit of the aftermath, because it finishes off with the camera panning up, showing both Joel and Ellie on the floor, and then we hear the song Through the Valley. We recognise the song because the song was used when they revealed the existence of Last of Us Part 2. And the best thing is, the person who was singing the song was Ellie's mother in the show, and also plays Ellie in the video games, Ashley Johnson. And I was like, that is just so perfect. Finishing off that episode with her singing the song, because it felt like Ellie's mother spiritually is like singing a song. And
did they talk about why in the podcast, like with Craig Mason? Like, did he say anything about that at all? Do you remember? Or?
That's why I said it in that way, because Craig Mason said it in that way, because like they had to get Ashley to sing that song because she sang the original, and also it felt like she was Ellie's mother in the show, so why not like get her to be like kind of like a spiritual like mother singing the song of a little girl, and then link him to the aftermath, because it goes through Jacksonville, and like we were talking about the shot of the guy handing the gun to the other guy to kill him because he got bit, and then we see Maria and Tommy hugging and then be devastated that they've lost a lot of people, and then we see Abby leaving Jackson, and then you just see Abby's face. There's no sadness, there's no relief or anything. She's just like it feels like she's just gone through this, but she just don't know how to feel in a way. Which we will find out later on in the show.
The Billie Eilish song.
But I thought this episode really left me shocked, even though I know what's to happen, but they know that the attack on Jackson and the decisions to changing of Joel's death, similar, the different changes they made, and giving Abby more dialogue with Joel, I thought worked a lot better than it did in the game.
I agree. I agree for sure.
And I got to say, best episode so far, and I don't think this episode's going to top the rest of the season, guys. No. I don't think it will, and I'll be surprised if it does.
But I'm intrigued to see what they do and how they change things, and I think at this point it's pretty much guaranteed that it will be like Ellie's section of the game in this season, and then season 3 is probably going to be Abby's, because you said we've got only 7 episodes this season. We're 2 down.
Only 7, we only got 5.
We ain't wrapping it up in this season. There's no way. No way.
Because I don't think they announced the casting for Lev, and a sister for the season. So unless they kept it a secret, unless those characters are being saved for season 3.
Well, I know that we got Jeffrey Wright as Isaac is it the WLF?
The wolves.
So that's Abby's section, though, isn't it? So unless they just show Isaac scenes while Ellie is like killing all these people and stuff, maybe in this version,
possibly, yeah.
And then we see Abby's perspective. So it might just be additional.
I think he's making an appearance in the next episode, because the next episode's the aftermath. Ellie wakes up from her injuries, realizing that Joel's dead, and then Dina's the one who tells Ellie who the people were and who Abby was and where they were from, and also the logo of the wolves as well.
Yeah, she saw that.
She catched this, so she's the one who tells him. Which then, like you said in the previous podcast, like it gives more of a reason for Dina to go with Ellie, because she had a bond with Joel as well.
Exactly, and she saw it, and she saw them there, and she saw that they killed him and everything, and yeah, I like that. Also, I like the cool detail, like the likes of Mel was like crying while Abby was like beating Joel, because it kind of shows they got a bit more compassion in this version, which obviously will make Ellie's actions, if you see in the game, more, awful. But
they weren't really there to kill Joel, but they didn't realise that Abby was going to go to that lengths.
Yeah,
so
and they were like, "That's enough." Like that's like they're trying to, see you need to calm down. Yeah. That was cool. I like that.
But no, that is our thoughts, though, of episode 2, which is probably the best episode and the only best episode we're going to get this season. Sorry, guys, but yeah, let us know what your thoughts are on the episode in the comments below. And if you like our podcast, then please give it a like, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Spotify for the audio version.
Love the Part 2 game, please don't send me death threats.
Please don't send death threats to Scott. He's, yeah. But yeah, so listen to us on Spotify. We have the YouTube video version of the episode as well. But yeah, thanks for watching, and tune in next week for episode 3. We are definitely going to be discussing about episode 3, and I don't think it's going to be as hype as this one, but who knows. Thanks for listening or watching, guys, but we shall see you in the next episode. So take care.
Take care, guys.